Hi, welcome back to the Gemhawks YouTube channel. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Today I'd like to share with you my beaded yogi pendant design, which is basically from a line drawing I saw about 35 years ago, and it's stuck with me that it was such a beautiful yet simple image to kind of denote a peaceful moment. So let me just show you here before we pop down to the board what we're looking to create today. Now this one has some chakra coloured beads on it, and this one has just got a handful of really pretty faceted ruby zoisite gems. I'm going to show you a little bit closer if you'd like to join me at the board. Here we go. So there are two different sizes. I'm working in 1.25mm gauge wire, which is 16 gauge. This has been very gently hammered on some of its aspects to give a slightly worked fashion look to it. And this one has been unhammered, it just remains as it comes off the reel, just warmed and smoothed. It's a very, very simplistic design, and you've got multiple options. So you could bead some of it, all of it, you could go all the way around. These beads on the Chakra Yogi I've put on the inside of the frame, and on this one on the outside. It's a very, very simple technique indeed. So I'm just going to pop these up here in the corner for reference. I've got around about 14 inches of 1.25 or 16 gauge wire. Just going to grip hold of one end with my trusty pliers and get that nice and toasty warm. Now you can achieve this without using a tool to begin with. You can just kind of make the wire bend to your will, but I'm going to show you with a bail make stepped plier. So this is my lovely Beadalon stepped bail making pliers. There are 6 different sizes, so I'm going to go from the second largest. And what I'm going to do is take that tail of wire through so it's not completely round. We're looking to start off with a nice little oval and draw that back on itself so you get kind of a teardrop shape, and that's the first section that we're going to work with. And I'm going to show you the second loop. I'm going to try and estimate that without using a tool at all, so you can see that you don't have to have them, but they are really, really super to use. And of course they've got that lovely navy blue handle as well. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of warmth through on the other side, and I'm going to grip hold. Now you can see that there's a gap. I'm not worried about that gap at all in any way. Because I've warmed the wire, I'm just going to allow that to come back on itself, and I'm going to approximately replicate the first little teardrop shape that we made on the one side. So that's come through really nicely. They're reasonably accurate to one another. I'm not overly worried unless you particularly want them to be an exact size. I'm quite happy with how that's looking. Now we do have some areas of wire that cross over today, so if you do choose to hammer your yogi pendant, you really need to be careful not to strike on any areas where wire crosses over. So the next thing I'm going to do is generate the body, and whilst I'm making chakra jewellery or these yogi pieces, I'm always quite mindful of what I'm doing. I relax and enjoy the process rather than being stressed by it. So I'm just going to apply some heat to create that lovely curvature of wire, and this is such a peaceful design to make. If I am a little bit lost or out of sorts, this is one I return to time and time again, just to bring me a little bit of peace. Now you can use round nose pliers if you have some quite chunky ones to generate that next section, or you could return to your bail makers. I'm going to actually use the biggest size for this particular piece, but you can do without tools if you desire. So I'm going to pop that in at the top and then just take a look at how that sits before winding the wire around. You might find that that doesn't sit aesthetically and you might need to just move that ever so slightly. I think I want my yogi to be just a little bit chubbier, so I'm just going to move that over to the other side before drawing that gently across. And again, what I'm looking to do is to create a nice eyelid shape for the body here, trying to replicate the approximate dimensions of the design, just to bring that back down to our starting point. We're constantly coming back to this. This is kind of the root chakra, if you were, of the design. It's the root of the body there, and that's what we're always coming back to. So I'm going to come in now with my bent chain nose pliers and draw very sharp angle back up inside the body, like so. You could make this with a heavier wire, but I think you would need to warm it through or make sure that you got a dead soft wire. So I'm just going to allow that to gently create the namaste shaped hands, like so. Draw that so that it's about halfway up the size of the body, crossing over here. So it's in a line. We have lots of different lines going on here, and the one we're looking at now is the one that goes between where we started off. We've created a point here, and we're looking to follow that line up to the neck here. So I'm going to pop back in with my bent chain nose pliers around about halfway between where the legs cross and where the neck is, and draw that really sharply back down. As I often do, I'm going to take that further than I need before drawing it back on itself. You can take a moment if you'd like that to be a little sharper. It doesn't have to be sharper. The whole thing is all about flow, really. So I'm going to just warm that last little section and generate another eyelid shape. If you warm your wire, it really does wonders for you. You don't have to work too hard. And then I'm going to come in with my flush cutters and just trim that away so that it can be chopped off and sit just inside the frame. Now we do have a couple of inches of wire left over, which I will turn into coils and hammer and pop on a necklace later. So before I move on to hammering and adding any beads, I will spend just a little bit of time making sure that all of those angles are as I want them to be, and that I'm happy with the symmetry of the design. And it is just a couple of moments spent thinking about those angles and sizes. So I'm just going to take a bit of a look at this. I think the head's ever so slightly over to the left side there, so I will just take a moment to draw this a little bit until I'm happy with how that sits. Now you can see our start point is here and our end point is very, very close to it. And for me, that's kind of key. You finish off where you start. So I'm just taking a moment to get a slightly sharper bend here. Now what I'm going to do is hammer this piece before I decide whether or not I want to add beads. You absolutely don't have to, they are quite attractive without. Now I would err on the side of caution and use quite a light hammer. I almost reached for the big chunky one, but I think that's a no for today, so I'm going to pop that out of the way. And what I'm going to do is take these areas where the wire crosses over off the block. So I'm going to hammer the head first. So I'm going to use, I think it's a 1/4 pound brass headed hammer. And what I'm going to do is turn that slightly. So that I get both a nice hammered effect and a good strength in there, but I never ever put any pressure on those zones where the wire crosses over. So I will do exactly the same down here for the lower sections. What will want to happen here is it will want to open up because it is being whacked. So I'll just close that back up before I continue on my way. So for the most part of this central section, there aren't actually any sections which cross over. So I'm going to very, very carefully cover up those two sections where there are no crossovers and have just the corner on the block. I'm just going to push down on this section whilst I hammer both the outer right hand side and the hands. Now it's not fully hammered by any way, shape or form, however there's a little bit more residual strength and I'd be very happy to wear that as a pendant now. So I'm just going to grab some random beads which I have on the desk, which are these lovely fluorites. And I'm going to see if they fit on a slightly heavier gauge of wire. I'll show you these two examples. This is made with some beautiful chakra beads which I have available in my shop, different gemstones, and they are woven with a 0.4, which is equivalent to 26 gauge wire on the inside of the form. This is also using 0.4 mil gauge or 26 gauge wire with some small faceted ruby zoisites. So I'm going to check to see if my beads will go on this slightly heavier wire. They will indeed. And I'm just going to take a very short amount of wire. It's only about 8 or 10 inches or so that you would need for 7 beads. I'm just going to give it a very gentle warm because it's slightly warmer. And because there's a join here, you can see that that's an open or floating section. What I tend to do is add some beads going down around the right hand side and then use the last little tail of the wire just to tie together at the bottom. So what I will do is I'll start halfway up, which will give me an opportunity to add some more beads here later. So I'm going to wrap probably twice only around that outside, push the wire up and through. If I flip this over so I'm right dominant, that makes much more sense. I'm now going to add one of those beads onto the outside of the frame just to show you how simple a technique it is. Slide the bead down into position, grip that with your non-dominant hand, and then take the tail of wire inside the frame just to wrap around. So I'm going to do that 3 times because that's what ended up happening. 1 and 2 and 3. I'm going to slide that down until it sits in the very bottom there. I've got plenty of wire here to add some more beads if I want to a little bit later on. But what I'm going to do now is join these 2 loose sections together. We'll just tighten up that coil because otherwise that will annoy me later. So I'm going to press those 2 sections into each other, bring the tail up inside that left infinity loop that we created, and then I'm going to wrap 3 times, whoops-a-daisy, that went the wrong side, around just the lower section, the infinity loop section. So that's 1. You'll certainly notice the difference, you'll feel the difference when you're using the 22 gauge or 0.6. It really is much firmer. It's a little bit trickier to weave with, in fact. However, it's very, very strong. So I've got 3 visible weaves on that infinity, or the knees if you prefer. So I'm going to bring the wire up now inside the Namaste, the hands, and I'm going to wrap around that 3 times as well before I trim away. And that just links the 2 sections of the pendant or the yogi form together and just gives you a little bit more strength and longevity in your piece. You could take that much further if you wanted to. If you were a stickler for symmetry, you could continue wrapping up the other side just to make sure that that all sat exactly the same way. You've got enough tail here to wrap a little bit further around the rest of the body if you want to. But that's the general consensus, that's the idea. You don't have to hammer it, you can use a heavier gauge wire. Again, it's a brilliant project for using up short scraps of wire. You can work out how much you think you're going to need using a scrap wire and then take that up into a precious metal if you like. It's a lovely project to work with and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I look forward to seeing you here on the Gemhawks YouTube channel again in the near future, and thank you very much for continuing to watch. Have a lovely day and bye for now.